Holy moly, I just reached 500 subscribers. The next video will probably be something special. Also, interesting things might happen to this channel. Thanks for now. The Big Three are three long-running shonen manga/anime consisting of One Piece, Naruto and Bleach. I'm sure that some of you are itching your fingers thinking that other anime may have replaced one of these, and all I can say to that is no, these three are not titled the Big Three because of popularity, sales, overseas appeal, success and or critical acclaim. Another reason could be the fact that back when manga sales finally began getting some business in the Western world, there were only like less than 10 volumes left of the best-selling one, so another had to take its place. And these three had what was desired. Emphasis on the over-the-top bombastic battles, light-hearted atmosphere and characters that strove to stay true to themselves. There is also a lovely synergy between each of them, representing each of their own fantasy universe, i.e. pirates, ninja and gods. Sure, all those things may once have had something or everything to do with why they are called the Big Three, but today it's as simple as, well, it's just what they're called. When the Big Three are mentioned today, most fans of anime immediately understand which anime are being talked about, and that is just the way the cookie crumbles. In other words, no matter how iconic some shonen have been or how great you believe others may be, it's just not going to change any. Also, if you search the phrase on Google, all images show these, and Google is pretty much the imperial at this point. What? I can make a Star Wars reference? Who's excited? But which is the better one? No, seriously, that's where I'm going with this. Why do I feel the need to talk about it? Honestly, I had the script lying around and I just kind of want to. Let's call it an extra video. If anything else, let's just say it's a video response to that video Giga did a billion years ago. By the way, let's for the sake of clarity say that what I'm comparing is the canon/main stories depicted in the manga. These three have had so many variations in production and animation that comparing that is kind of redundant. Quick disclaimer before we begin, it's completely fine for you to dislike this one, but for your own sake, watch it all the way through, as most statements are followed by a huge but, because without spoiling too much, the discussion is sort of difficult, at least in terms of reaching merits. So let's take a deep breath and carry on. Which one was the best again? That would be Bleach. At least as a shonen. Sure, out of the three, Bleach is the least impressive in terms of art style, and it's probably also the one that takes the least chances and risks. In 650 plus chapters, only one smaller arc has had any sign of attempt of trying something new, and that entire arc was just a we made too big of a deal that Ichigo gave up his powers to defeat Aizen, so we're going to have to dedicate an entire arc to bring them back kind of deal thing. Bleach is self-aware. When women swing their huge busts around, it's pointed out how ridiculous it is. There's even a point where a character mentions how he wanted a female character to wear a certain revealing outfit, not because it was suitable for combat, but because he wanted the protagonist to have something nice to look at. That is one issue some have with One Piece. The female characters of One Piece have enormous busts and extremely revealing clothing, but it's never being pointed out in the series. The universe treats it like they're wearing casual clothing, and that can get distracting, especially when these women try to have emotional or serious scenes. You're never taking out of the experience watching or reading Bleach. With the exception of one particular scene, it never diverges from its tone. Sure, it has different emotions going, but it's all primary emotions. In Bleach, things are happy, sad, angry and excited. They're not melancholic, depressed or stressful. Does this mean that Bleach will never hit some of the high notes that Naruto and One Piece does? Absolutely. But right now, Bleach stability and we're only here to have fun and fight attitude is its greatest weapon. Speaking of weapons, why do people look forward to the next chapters or episodes of One Piece, Naruto and Bleach? Usually in Naruto it's about what happens next in the story. We get excited when characters or the story unfolds. In One Piece it's about the adventure. We get excited when the next chapter reveals new things to the world or new developments to the characters, however few they may be. Think about what exactly excites us the most in Bleach. The character development? No. The story's progression? No. Flashbacks or plot details to reveal twists and turns? No. What most fans are excited for is whenever a new Bankai is revealed. Think about that. The manga have been popular for almost 15 years, and after all that time, fans keep clicking on the next chapter in hopes of experiencing new techniques of combat. If that's not the milestone, nay the essence that a shonen should be proud of, then I don't know what. But I guess talking about the best shonen is just stupid semantics. If you want to talk about story, then things gets a bit more interesting. The story of Bleach is entirely dedicated to its own self-awareness. The entire first saga was about establishing as many characters as possible just to throw them into interesting matchups, and then in the second saga they pretty much do the same thing all over again for the sake of showing off even more cool matchups, power-ups and so on. It's about the rescue missions, it's about the powers, and it's about the fucking Bankai. Then we got One Piece, which still to this day remains as one of the biggest, most interesting worlds, with the least focus on characters. The characters of One Piece are more or less talking heads, spouting catchphrases, and the greatness of the show, at least after the golden years, comes in the shape of huge climactic moments that defies textbook storytelling and manages to work in its own right. Nico Robin wasn't that developed or even that interesting of a character, and then she suddenly gets this huge revelation during Water 7. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. It stands tall as one of the better moments of manga altogether, and that's because of how well One Piece manages to execute its climactic moments. And I don't think many would deny that. The biggest issue in One Piece, no matter how great or climactic the moments or battles are, is not the length but the character's behavior. It doesn't matter how PG your story is, when dealing with people in their best age, there have to be some kind of at least acknowledgement of sexuality in some way, shape or form. Any hint of attraction, any hint of blushing when gorgeous women looks like this. And no, Sanji's cartoonish behavior doesn't count because it's a gimmick. The manga just passed 800 chapters and I still can't picture in my head whatever these guys are doing on a boring day on the ship, because the story never bothers to show us them just chilling and talking. They're always on the way to the next adventure. So yeah, if all you want is cartoony shonen with chances and risks, then One Piece is your jam. But what if you want at least some degree of seriousness and relatability? Then Naruto may actually be the winner here. Out of the three, it's definitely the one that have the most relatable characters, emotional footing and grounded atmosphere. Romance and sexuality exists. When they interact with each other, then it's not as much about catchphrases, mostly, or exposition, it's more about how these people would actually interact. The entire franchise pretty much exemplifies this, but one very strong one is when characters Naruto and Shikamaru have to deal with their respective mentors dying. One Piece and Bleach, as great as they are, takes a much more innocent approach to that type of themes. Lots of crying, lots of exaggeration, and not that much subtlety. It's like, here's a sad scene, let's cry together and then move on. It goes back to what I said about Bleach, about primary emotions. Are the scenes in One Piece sad? Sure, and in extension of that, they may even not be too poorly handled in terms of the characters set up. But that doesn't change the fact that they never hit some real emotions. The way Naruto handles it is just different. We see Naruto lie in bed, taking walks, experiencing several emotions, until he finally on a night stroll buys something that reminds him of his friend. And first then does his emotions transform from denial and depression to sadness. One of the best episodes of the show depicts Shikamaru in his grief, and it's heartbreaking because it dares touching on something much more than sadness. It's melancholy. But why isn't Naruto the best then? Maybe the battles aren't as entertaining. Actually, they kind of are. The issues of Naruto are much simpler than the ones of One Piece or Bleach. It stops being good. No, seriously, it's not fun how different the quality from then and now is. It began by neglecting almost everything it loved in its first half, then began a heavy focus of one of the worst characters in fiction, and then with a 1, 2, 3 punch just fell flat. Sure, it had a few lovely moments, but not enough to save it, sadly. So which one is better? Sorry to tell you, but if you expected anything less than an open, subjective and multicolored answer, then you're in the wrong place. It depends entirely on preference. Do you want self-awareness and DBC scaled battles? Do you want grandiose adventures and beautiful climactic moments? Or do you want a somewhat more grounded adventure with a bit more detail? It's up to you. No, seriously, it is. Tell me down below how wrong I am and which one is the best. And that is all she wrote, or what I wrote at least. If you feel like what I'm doing here deserves any type of support, then you can give just that by being awesome and like, share or comment the video. And if you're really into it, then go ahead and click on Batman for a lovely subscription. Once again, thank you for 500 subs and I'll see you next time. Bye!